What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Super fun little whoop here on the channel today for this review, the DE65 Pro with Crossfire Nano on here. Why would anybody put Crossfire on something that only has a 25 milliwatt VTX on there? Well, you're about to find out. Alright guys, welcome back from that quick little break, little flying sort of preview of what we're going to show you. The full flight review coming up for the DE65 Pro. The TBS Crossfire version here in this box is around $89 on the Banggood website right now, which is kind of crazy. This is probably the most fun you can have with something that is under $100. You can fly it indoors and outdoors, but I think the best thing about this is that it has Crossfire on here. If you already have a Crossfire module or you don't know what a Crossfire module is, it's a module that plugs into the back of your radio, which really extends your range. Also extends your aircraft's penetration around where you're flying. So if you fly down behind a bunch of trees, it can really keep you from fail-safing and dropping to the ground. So I have flown this same model before, but this one is the Pro version. Now we have an upgraded camera on here. We also have a charger in this box, which is really nice because look what it comes with. This is my favorite Eachine 6-in-1 charger, and now it has a new adapter for that new style plug that's on there. Very sturdy one, way better than the PH 2.0 connectors that we've had on whoops in the past. This is a great upgrade here, and I'll show you those connectors on the battery in a second. You also get 4 batteries in the box. These are 1S 250 milliamp batteries, and the good news about this is that they do last on 2S with this little quad for well over 5 minutes. You can even do freestyle with this on 2S, which is a lot of fun. The power to weight ratio is great. You can boost over trees and back under and do split S's. It'll actually power loop, which is kind of cool. And the greatest thing about this whole kit right here, I think, is the fact that it does come with a wall adapter. So guys, you don't have to use a 4S 1300 with this. You can also do that. It has the XT60 right there. It also has an output for 2 amp for your phone or any type of device you like to charge for USB, which is kind of nice. But this just plugs in right here, and these batteries charge up in probably about 10 minutes per battery. And this is that new connector on there. It is kind of hard to see, but there it is. It almost looks like a JST type connector, but it's very sturdy. And there's even heat shrink on each post, positive and negative. Really nice new batteries. So I'm also able to fly this on 1S. So if you want to fly it indoors and calm the power down on the motors, you can do that. And speaking of motors on this little quad, we have 0802 motors, and these are 14,000 kV, little teeny tiny props. And the good news is that I did actually a pretty good durability test with this one as well. So it's been durability tested, and I have 2 of them here just in case. I got a backup one, so I've got twin DE Pros here. And we have that 65 millimeter frame. And even in all my durability testing, guys, the quad did not break. And the last one that I had, the original version without the Crossfire and the new upgraded CATX Ant camera on here, that one broke all to pieces. It was a very brittle frame, and I don't know if they changed the plastic construction, but it has a little more flex now than it used to. So it felt really brittle in the past, but I'm sure you probably could break this frame with a lot of abuse, but the frames are probably just about $2 to $3 a piece. They're very cheap frames. So 65 millimeter, really tiny whoop. Let's go ahead outside now and let's do some flying, and then I'll give you my final thought and opinion on this little quad. And I'm going to show you why Crossfire is so important on something that is so small, but also it's only rocking a 25 milliwatt VTX. And you will see soon the reason why I think this is so much fun. This is probably the most fun, again, that I've had with a whoop in all of 2020. Crossfire on a whoop, it's my new favorite thing. Here we go. All right, guys, let me go ahead and just get into this battery and show you guys what's going on with this quad. Now, my original DE65 and US 65 review that I did, it was in my front yard around the house, and I didn't ever leave the yard, just flew around the house. It did okay flying around the house, and it didn't fail safe behind the house, which is pretty good for a built-in receiver. This one comes with a variety of different receivers. This Crossfire is allowing me to do what I'm doing right here. I know some XM Plus style receivers can get away with things like this, but they can also fail safe. The greatest thing about Crossfire in this situation is that I'm confident that it's not going to drop to the ground. And so many times before I've been flying Tiny Whoop and they just fail safe all the time, and it sucks because then you got to go walk and find it, pick it up, and just a bit of a hassle. But 25 milliwatt, even in some of the thickest vegetation, is still letting me see where to go. And the camera actually looks really good when the 25 is not having a hard time. Like right here, just almost completely lost it. And what you do is you just power out, go straight up, and your video will come back. Don't hit your kill switch. Other times I've done that, I've flown into a tree, but you know, that's a chance you take. Sometimes when you lose video, you just, when in doubt, power out. And it's so much fun because I can get away with so much here. And this little quad actually has a lot of speed. We're flying on 2S right now, and it is extremely fast in acro mode. If you're a new guy, you can start out in stability mode and just kind of fly around your neighborhood. It's actually a lot of fun. And with Crossfire, you could really get a lot of altitude with this little quad if you wanted to. If you wanted to go up there and check out the satellites, Crossfire goes way out, even the Crossfire Nano. But you're limited to the distance for your battery. So you don't want to fly 2.5 minutes away and just barely squeak back. You kind of want to turn around at the halfway point of your battery. Otherwise you're definitely gonna lose your battery. It's gonna say land now and you're gonna have to come down and land. Just really so much fun with this little quad. People don't really notice it that much unless you come close to them, but this little quad is so small, it's not gonna hurt anybody. It's way under the 250 gram mark as well, so I believe we're probably around the 40 gram mark for this little quad, so it is super tiny. But with the 0802 motors, it handles a little bit of wind, because when I went outside to fly this, there was more wind than I was hoping for. I thought it was absolutely still outside, and it was blowing out there today, so I was competing with a little bit of wind. And the ant camera is just great. I can really see in front of me where I'm going. I can see the tree branches. You can see people walking around. You're not gonna fly into anybody. FPV cameras of the past, you wouldn't see something like that. Even someone walking down the street sometimes until you came right up on them. Especially if you're flying where you really don't have a good field of view. But this is a nice wide open street, and it's just a ton of fun to fly down. And it will power loop. We did field test this out at the tree farm. You guys have seen the tree farm on the channel before. And it doesn't do as well around really thick vegetation like the evergreen trees. I had some blackouts, and out in the field, down low to the ground, behind a bunch of those trees out there, the Christmas trees kind of knock out this 25 milliwatt, but there's a lot of fans of 25 out there, and they've claimed that they can get miles out on 25. I've yet to try that, but with this, you could, fly half your battery out in the distance and do some range tests and see how far out you get. See how many blocks down the street you can get with your little whoop. But it feels like outdoor PlayStation. It's a ton of fun. I think the price is right on these too. So with the Nano, around $89, I believe, which is a pretty cool deal. So this one's coming down now, and the battery is done. All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. So talking about Crossfire on a whoop, my first initial response at looking at this case and this box full of goodies here, I was like, why would they put Crossfire on something that has 25 milliwatt VTX? It's not going to go that far. But I've had lots of experiences running 25 milliwatt out in big fields, and you can literally go several football fields, and some people claim they can go further than a mile out on 25 milliwatt. And since you're actually able to get over 5 minutes flight time on this quad, that is a great advantage being able to have the range and the penetration so that you don't fail-safe this little guy up behind the trees if you're flying behind some trees or trying to make some gaps way out there. I mean, this is a fun little explorer. You can tree canopy surf like 5 blocks down the street. It's really cool. So I flew this one up and down my street and above the trees, and there were times where I had a lot of trees in between me and the aircraft and it would kind of almost completely lose it. And you know, when in doubt, I always say when in doubt, throttle out. So that's what I did. I went up high and then my video came back. So otherwise you can hit your kill switch and just let it drop to the ground, but it could end up in a tree somewhere. So don't really do that. Just kind of throttle out and usually your video will come back into view. But the best thing about this is that I don't have to worry about this fail-safing and falling down into the top of the trees when I'm going back behind really thick tree canopy. So that's one thing to think about when you add Crossfire to something like this. It really opens up a whole new level of whoop exploration, and even, you know, going up inside the tree canopies and things like that. You can go way down the street and no one even notices this little guy's going by. You do have a tiny little copper antenna on the side here, and I would just kind of pull that out to the side, and you get TPU mount in the box as well, and this converts it from a 1S battery tray to a 2S configuration. And then for beta flight, you have USB port right there on the Crazy Bee F4 flight controller, and that's the newer version of that F4 flight controller, by the way. But the most exciting thing is not only Crossfire, but also the new camera on here. The Cadex Ant is where it's at as far as tiny whoop camera goes. This is a tiny little camera, and this is way different than those kind of crappy low-end CMOS cameras that we had last year on the DE Pro or the DE model. So the DE and the US. There is also a US version of this, so it has the American flag on it, but this would be the Germany version. It has lots of bright colors on it, so it's pretty easy to find if I do crash in the grass. It's a lot better than this thing being black, because I've had black quads before and they're really hard to find out in the grass. So very bright, easy to see, and mostly a lot of fun to fly. So I think for, you know, the $89 price point, the bottom line is that this quad is just tons of fun, and it's actually fairly durable for what it is because it's super, super lightweight. So you can kind of explore fly with this, and you can also do some pretty impressive freestyle. So I'm gonna give this little guy, even though it's one of the cheaper ones, that's what I love about this channel. I love to see how much fun I can have for the cheapest amount of money, and this is high on the bar for that. So 1, 2 thumbs up for the DE Pro or the US 6.5 Pro. Either way you go, get the Pro version with the Ant camera and you'll be happy. So bind it up to your radio and get some Crossfire on there and go fly around your neighborhood with it and explore and have fun with it. Yeah, but great quad. You guys will really enjoy it if you pick one up. I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.